I'm going to be rehabbing this new to me Singer Chunky Knitter. This is model 150 and it functions similarly to the LK 150 that has a plastic bed. Okay, so it came with the instruction book and it also came with this box of accessories, which I'm mostly going to put aside for later. In case I need to, need to clean this up. And what I want, for now, I will need this. This is the machine oil. If you don't have any, I've seen gun oil recommended. Okay. And then there was also this additional box with some things in it too. Notice the clamps. That's one thing about knitting machines, is they have to be clamped to a table. And sometimes you might not have a table with enough of a lip to clamp the machine down, but it really is a requirement. You can't knit without clamping the machine. Okay, I am going to move these items aside and leave that there. One other thing to note when you are setting up your machine, where the handle is actually the back of the machine. So I've already unlatched it. I'm going to take this cover off. And you'll see it's quite grubby. Yeah, you can see it's quite grubby, quite dirty. That part I can clean after. For now, I'm just going to focus on basically what I need to do to get the machine itself working. So in the top cover, there is some storage. This is your thread guide apparatus, and it looks like this is the sinker plate. So I will get into that later on. For now, I just want to get this part cleaned up and working. A few things you're kind of going to need for this, especially when you've got a machine that's this grubby. Some good all-purpose cleaner, screwdrivers, pliers. I am not sure if I will need this flathead or the pliers, but I'd rather have them than go looking for them after. Most of the screws on a Singer knitting machine, because these are Japanese machines, so it looks like a Phillips screw head, but it really isn't. It's actually, I think it's called Japanese Industrial Standard, and apparently it's very much like the screws that are used for Japanese motorcycles. So I'm going to take the carriage off. It looks like it's been oiled, but of course it has not been cleaned first. So this is the underside of your carriage, and you can see it's quite dirty. So that's going to need some cleaning. Now I'm going to move all of my needles back. No, maybe, well, we'll see how it goes. The first thing I need to do is I need to pull out my needle retaining bar. So what you do is from one end or the other, okay, we'll slide down. I have a jar at the end of my table with rubbing alcohol in it, and I don't want to knock it down. So I'm going to push, there's a little tab that you can see. There's a channel, right? The back of the channel is here, and the front of the channel is here. And your needle retaining bar or needle sponge is in that channel. So from one end, I'm going to push it just enough to make it so that I will be able to grab it and pull it out from the other end. And I have put a towel down on my table because, like I said, this machine is quite grubby. Okay. Now, I had done some reading on this beforehand, and I had quite expected this to be a needle retaining bar. It is, in fact, a sponge bar, and the sponge is quite dead. So I'm going to have to order a replacement from Amazon, and hopefully that will come in tomorrow so that I can replace that and put a new one in. However, that doesn't stop me from doing the rest of what needs to be done here. Okay. Zoom you back out. So once your sponge bar is out, you can pull all your needles forward. And my hands are going to very shortly get quite dirty. And before I go ahead and order a new sponge bar, I'm going to inspect my needles. We're going to start by cleaning them, and you kind of want to do this in batches because your center needles always get the most wear. So as you're going along with your knitting, if you keep your center needles separate from your outer needles, then you can switch them up, much like you would rotate the tires on your car. You can switch those up. Now, as I remove these, I'm going to put these in a jar of rubbing alcohol, hook side down. I'm going to add a couple of drops of oil, if I can squeeze it out. I would honestly say this machine has sat for longer than 4 years, which is what I was given to understand when I met with the fella who was selling it. It had belonged to his wife who had passed away, so he really didn't know a lot about it. He just said, you know, the carriage moves and whatnot. But yeah, I might, depending on the price, I might end up just ordering a bunch of new needles along with the sponge bar, which is fine. And boy, these needles are thick compared to the needles on the standard knitting machine. I'm going to go ahead and order a new sponge bar and I think needles from Amazon, and then I will come back and start cleaning the bed and everything else. Okay, it's a day later and my Amazon order has arrived. First, I cleaned the old sponge out of this metal piece. You can replace this whole unit, but I cheaped out and I'm just going to put new sponge in this. But you can see how bad the old sponge was. It's really disgusting to even touch. So that is garbage. And these are the new ones. I got a 5-pack. Since they fit both machines, and it is a regular maintenance item that has to be periodically replaced. So put those back in the bag so that I can stick them somewhere and forget where they are. So that's that. And then I also ordered needles. So this is a 110 needle machine. The needles come in packages of 50. So I ordered 100, and then I picked through the needles that came with the machine and selected the best of the best, which was not very great. And there was also 2 spare needles that came with the accessories. So I will put the old needles on the outer edges of the bed. I won't put those towards the center. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. Well, no, maybe. Okay. Before I put these new needles on, I am still going to give them the alcohol soap with the alcohol and a few drops of the knitting machine oil. So those are the 2 needles that were in with the accessory kit. And these are the new ones I bought, or 50 of them. Put the cap on. Shake. They can sit for a minute and soak while I deal with the sponge bar. If you buy the proper sponge for this, it has almost like a fabric, which of course it's not going to focus for me. But it's almost like a thin nylon-y type fabric. That is your top side. So the opposite side is the side that's going to go in your needle bed. And I have my double-sided tape. It's a little wide. So obviously I am not showing the full cleaning process because the things I did to get this machine clean are not anything that would ever actually be recommended. Yeah, she's seen some things. Basically, I put the whole thing in my shower, and I honestly, I don't recommend that you do this. I don't think you should, but it was either that or I was going to put the thing out to the road for the people that go around and collect scrap metal around here. It was just that disgusting. The rust and dirt and grease were really gross. I'm having no luck getting that backing off. None. None at all. I think I just wasted that whole piece of double-sided tape. I'm going to do this in short sections instead. And note to self, next time I will not be so cheap. I am going to order the whole thing already put together. Yeah, so I pretty much just stuck the whole thing in my shower. And then I hit it with the shower, hosed it out, hit it with some cleaner. I used a scrub brush on it. I used anything that I could to get it clean. And then I have a little dust blower thing. So I used that to blow out as much of the water as I could afterwards and set it out in the sun to dry. And hopefully I didn't wreck it. Oh yeah. All future sponge bars will definitely be already assembled. Because this is not fun. Didn't double-sided tape used to come where you had a piece that you peeled off after you placed it? Like, why is it already sticky on both sides? How the hell are you supposed to put it where it goes if it's sticking to your hands and not what you're trying to put it on? Like, honestly, how stupid is that? I should have bought one of those window insulation kits. Use the tape from that. That would have been easier. It has wax paper on one side. Okay. Good enough. It's going to need to be trimmed at the ends, and one end I will have to wrap in tape so I can get it back in where it goes. Stick that to the side. Even this was disgusting. Just gross. All of it was just gross. I've changed brakes on my car. That's rusty, it's dirty, but it's not gross. This was just gross. Wow, that seems very tight, but I've never had a brand new sponge bar, so what do I know? Okay, oil. They don't take as much as you think they do. I think that's the first thing I really want to say, is they don't take as much as you think they do. The main thing is you want a little bit on these needle butts. Not a lot, just a little. Because the more oil you put on, the more black you're going to wind up with on your hands. Yeah, I'm kind of putting more on than usual just because everything was so rusty. I did want to put a little on here. It came with an actual needle pusher, but hi, Vanessa, the Salty Knitter here. And spoiler alert, the knitting machine does not work. So where I'm at right now is I've torn it apart further, and I'm going to try to remove more of the oxidization that is on the parts, and then reassemble it and see if it works. I'm pretty disappointed in the condition of the machine, given that I was given the impression that it had only been unused for 4 years. But it is what it is, and there's not really any return policy when you buy on Facebook Marketplace. So I'm going to do that and stay tuned. Maybe there will be a part 2, or maybe I will just be saying, oh hey, it's garbage and it went out for scrap. Later.